Welcome back to Behind the Caution Tape. I'm your host, CrashLit, and today I am super excited to be joined by USC baseball alum and recent Colorado Rockies draftee and two-way player Ethan Hedges. Ethan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, and let's really I want to just get into this interview really right away and just start us off by telling us just what your experience has been like since you've been drafted, like where you are, how it's been, and just what your life has been like as a professional baseball player since you got drafted.
So it's been about a week. I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona right now at the spring training complex for the Rockies. And this past week's just kind of been getting to know the facilities, some meetings, a lot of meetings, and kind of just a little bit of time on the field, getting back into the swing of things, baseball wise.
Gotcha. And I do want to now go back to July 13th, the night you got drafted, when you heard your name called. You were at home with your family and a few close friends, as I understand it. Just what was it like watching the draft with them and then hearing your name called?
It was, I mean, it's been my dream forever to play professional baseball. So, getting that call, seeing my name up on the screen, and especially being surrounded by, everyone that's worked so hard to get me to that moment was, everything I could have wanted it to be. It was, probably one of the best days of my life, honestly.
Then how long have you had that dream to want to be a pro baseball player? Like when did you kind of realize this is something I'd want to do with my life?
I mean, ever since I started playing baseball, since I was like five, probably. It's what I wanted to do, what I was striving to do. Yeah, and it's dream come true.
And then how have you seen yourself really build towards that moment, especially over the last 3 years being at USC?
Yeah, so these last 3 years at USC has been really big for my development as a baseball player. Especially this last year, I made significant strides in many areas that helped me have a really good year and get me to where I am now.
And then on that note, I do want to ask you what led you to commit to USC and then end up staying there, especially considering you committed under Jason Gill and not Andy Stankiewicz.
Yeah, so my decision to go to USC was my recruiting process in high school started a little late. So when USC did come into the picture, it was pretty clear that that was the school that I was going to from the start. Uh, I think that it has the perfect balance between academics and athletics, which I wanted in a school, what I wanted to do. Um, and then, yeah, when Coach Gill was let go and Stankiewicz was hired on, it made the decision even better because I knew that the staff they hired under Coach Stankiewicz and Jewett was something that I knew could help me develop as a player.
Hmm. Gotcha. Then talk to me about that first year at USC. Kind of how did you just, about just, getting playing time at USC, especially because you weren't an opening day starter, but you gradually kind of worked your way into the lineup. By the end of the year, you were starting at first base.
Yeah, so coming my that first year at USC, I wasn't expecting a whole lot playing time wise, but like you said, I worked my way into the lineup, and it was really cool to kind of get a feel for collegiate baseball. Um, to I mean, because at that point, that was my dream was to play college baseball, and I was doing that and fulfilling that, so that was really cool. Just being able to be out there on the field. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And then talk to me about the ending of that first year when you guys all probably, I think from what I've heard, you guys all thought you were going to make the NCAA tournament and but it didn't. How confident were you and just what was that reaction like?
Um, we were. I remember we were watching it in the locker room, and all of us were pretty. We were expecting to make it. We were all sitting around the TV, waiting for our name to be popping up on the screen there, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. Um, and that was kind of a reality check for all of us. I started like looking around the room at a lot of these guys that I wouldn't, see ever again, and it kind of taught me not to take things for granted. Um, yeah,
I do now want to ask kind of how did that motivate you over the next 2 years? USC was, building, and then I'll ask you kind of more about these next years, but kind of overall, how did you just kind of see as motivation going into your off season, your summer ball, and then into like that next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's goal at the start of the year is to play playoff baseball, and not making it, and probably, in my opinion, when we should have made it, was just more fuel to the fire about not letting that happen again, and working and doing everything we could to get back in the playoffs. And then yeah, that just led into summer ball, working and setting the goal from that moment on to the next year about making playoffs.
And how was that adjustment for you playing off campus your sophomore year, especially because it kind of, from how I understood it, kind of came a bit out of nowhere and just kind of just, everyone was just really adjusting to it from what I was hearing.
Yeah, it was definitely um, news for all of us. We weren't expecting it, but I think that Coach Stakowitz, he really taught us how to handle things like well. And this was just another obstacle that we overcame as a team. We overcame together. Um, and it really wasn't as bad as what maybe like news made it out to be. It was just a little different, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And obviously that year didn't start out well, but you guys really pulled it together in the second half and were on an absolute tear going into the Pac-12 tournament, made it all the way to the final. And what was it like playing in that Pac-12 championship last year in Scottsdale, knowing that if you had won that game, you guys would have kept your season alive?
Yeah, I mean that run in Scottsdale was something that I'll never forget. That was um, it was great. I know we were coming in not very like you said, we had a rough start to the year. But we turned around, found our stride about halfway through and picked it up from there. But yeah, playing in that championship game was, that's where everyone wants to be. They want to be in the moment. They want to be, you know, in those high intensity situations. And once again, yeah, being so close, one game away, not making it was really unfortunate.
And then this year, though, you guys definitely had a really solid year overall. That was really fun to watch. Probably the most fun I've had in my 4 years coming to all games, so including the year before you got there. But how did you just see guys just buy into like the team culture this year, especially since you were kind of stepping up into more of a leadership role as an upperclassman?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we had a lot of returners that played a lot the year prior, freshmen that were now sophomores that you know were gonna have a big role in helping us win. And I think that a lot of guys stepped up where they needed to, and took on that role head on, and just all these guys coming together led to the success we had this year.
And how's the adjustment playing in the Big Ten, especially with the increased travel?
Yeah, so that was definitely an adjustment, not being in the Pac-12, switching over to the Big Ten. But like I said, another obstacle that we handled well, the travel and everything, the weather, time change. I mean, there's no use in complaining. So we took it in stride and did what we do, which is, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just baseball. So we went out there and played baseball.
Did you have a favorite Big Ten stadium that you visited or favorite Big Ten team that came to Irvine this year?
I would say my favorite Big Ten stadium we went to would be Minnesota. That one, I really like that field. And then Big Ten opponent coming to Irvine, I would say UCLA. That was a really fun weekend. Yeah, force down. Um, but yeah, that was really good to that rivalry. A lot of energy, a lot of intensity, and beating them that weekend.
Absolutely. That was, yeah, definitely a thriller series for sure. And then what was it like getting, practice again on the new data field on campus?
Yeah, it was really cool to kind of be a part of the new field development. The first practice on what the field going to be for the next foreseeable future. Um, and it was really nice being able to, mid-season get back on campus, start practicing there. Kind of made a travel a lot easier, more convenient. It was really cool just to be back on a field on USC's campus.
I now want to ask you about going back to pitching and being the team's closer, especially because you hadn't pitched since high school. And I talked to a few people, and it seemed like you might never pitch again. And then suddenly you're just out there during like fall ball, and just what was it like getting on the mound and then actually, playing in like actual games this past spring.
Yeah. I mean, I've these my first 2 years at USC, I was always bugging our pitching coaches and Stakowitz, telling them that I wanted to get back on the mound because I thought I could be better than all the pitchers we had. Um, but yeah, getting back on the mound was definitely an adjustment, but I think that, I'm an athlete and I kind of picked it up quickly. Just went out there on the mound and competed. But it was a little strange, getting back on the mound and facing a live batter, being in the game scenario. It took a little bit of adjusting, but like I said, learned it pretty quick. Came back to me pretty quickly, and yeah, I went from there.
Do you have a memorable moment on the mound that's like that stands out to you from like this past year?
I would say my first save opening weekend, Saturday night, was it? Yeah, Saturday night against George Washington. That was, it didn't really hit me until that moment that like I was like the closer. And they're telling me to go in the game, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Like having, yeah. So got the save, and that was, something I'll never forget. All my teammates running out to me from the dugout after I got the save.
And then I now want to ask you about just the kind of going into the postseason now. This has been USC's best season in about a decade. So what was it like actually this year hearing USC's name called in the tournament?
Um, like I previously said, it's every team's goal to make playoffs. And I think we had a really good season. We played really well, and we proved to everyone that we deserved to be in the playoffs. And finally, hearing a name called was something that a lot of us being there for 3 years, 4 years didn't see. Um, and to have it happen, it was kind of a fruition of all our hard work, all our hours we put in, um, all the obstacles we had to overcome, being like Big Ten travel, not having a field. So that was really cool to see.
And what was the experience of, going to Corvallis and being just one game away from making the Super Regionals? Obviously, you had to face a really good Oregon State team that made it all the way to the College World Series that was just pretty much just mowing down every team in its path. But what was that overall experience like?
It was really cool. It was like high stakes, competitive, high intensity. Crowd was getting into it. It Everyone wants to be in that situation, and to be able to play in it, put ourselves in a situation to be one game away from making a super regional. We did everything we could, but ran out of gas at the end there. But like I said, it's a memorable experience. I'll never forget.
I do now want to ask you a bit about the future of USC baseball, just because especially you and a couple and notable other key high profile players are either graduating, going pro, or have decided to start a new chapter at another school. So, what do you think the key is for USC to continue to be successful going to year four under Andy Stankiewicz?
I think we're gonna have to have some people step up in big roles. I think that um, our pitching staff is gonna some pitchers that are returning are gonna have to come into their own and take their roles head on this year, and really show that they can go out there and compete with competition. And then, like I said, the returners, sophomores that'll now be juniors, um, as well as some freshmen this year coming back. I think that they're going to have to help lead the team, take on some of those leadership roles and do their job and helping USC win.
And what were some of your favorite moments overall from USC? I know I've asked about a few specific things, but do you have anything that just really stands out from your time being with the baseball team?
I would say like my freshman year, that was probably the most fun I've had playing baseball. Just, being on campus, being in a locker room with, 40 other guys that sharing the same common goal of winning. That was something that, was a lot of fun. Um, so yeah, I'd say about probably my whole freshman year, and then obviously my junior year, making playoffs, playing in a regional. Uh, that was memorable as well.
And what did you enjoy from your time at USC off the field?
Off the field, I enjoyed, living with all the guys. Like this past year, we got a baseball house with 8 of us, and that was a lot of fun. A lot of memories, a lot of good times. It's just those off the field connections with all these guys, friendships that will last a lifetime.
Absolutely. I can kind of know what you're talking about just because I lived in a house like that for 2 years as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then what are some of your, as you move on to your professional career, what are some of your goals, especially as you get more integrated into the Rockies organization?
Yeah, I just want to learn. Keep developing as a player. Keep learning more about the game. Keep developing. I think that learning how to be a professional baseball player and have baseball be your kind of life is an adjustment. Um, but I'm excited for what the future holds and what else I got going on.
I want to ask you, what's the best advice you've ever gotten throughout your life?
Ooh. Um, I would say to be in the moment, to be in the present, to not focus on the past, not focus on the future, but really appreciate where you're at right now and focus on the now, and be the best person you could be right now.
And what's the best advice you've got for anyone who's like, they look at you, especially this past year, and they want to play college baseball and try to have a shot at going pro? What's your advice to them?
Um, I would say just take it one day at a time. There's only so much you can do in a day, but waking up and making the most out of that day, whether that's, you know, going to the field and getting better or going to the weight room, getting stronger or whatever. Just taking it one day at a time. And that kind of feeds into not looking too far into the future. Taking it one day at a time, step by step, and making yourself 1% better every day.
Ethan, I'm going to give you the floor now here. Are there any final words that you want to say to the Trojan family as you embark on this new chapter with the Rockies?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for these past 3 years, going to USC, and having the 3 years that I had there and all the experiences and memories, on and off the field, um, has been everything that I wanted to be. So thank you for all of that. It was something that I'll never forget.
All right, Ethan Hedges, thank you again so much for joining me today on Behind the Caution Tape. It was really great to talk to you, especially just right after you just signed, and it's just it's really cool to just have you on, just talking about just like right as you're turning pro. Like, I don't think I've
Yeah,
heard someone like this recent after they've signed come on the show before. So thank you so much.
yeah, of course. Thanks for having me again.
So that's going to do it for us here on Behind the Caution Tape. Big thank you to Ethan Hedges for joining us today. I'll have some coverage from Big Ten Volleyball Media Days later this week. I'll have an episode out. Big thank you again to Ethan and fight on.
Fight on.